It all began when my best friend, Jake, told us about his mom's favorite movie, some old film about a girl secretly living inside a department store. We were all sprawled across my living room, controllers in hand, half listening as we played Fortnite. The idea sounded ridiculous. No way someone could pull that off, Nick scoffed through the headset. There's cameras everywhere. You'd get busted in 5 minutes. But Jake and I weren't so sure. Nah, man, I argued. I worked at a grocery store last summer. After closing, nobody's watching the feeds. They just assume nothing's happening. The others laughed, calling us delusional, until Nick threw down a challenge. Bet you $100 each you can't spend a whole night in Walmart without getting caught. But if you do get caught, you pay us. Jake and I locked eyes. Stupid? Absolutely. But what's more tempting to a couple of bored teens than a dumb dare and bragging rights? The next day, we scoped out our local Walmart, pretending to browse while actually hunting for hiding spots. No tents like in the movie, but the display cabinets in the furniture section. Perfect. We even tested squeezing inside, tight, but doable. That night, we told our parents we were sleeping over at Nick's. Sorry, Mom. We did go there first, but by 10 p.m., we were slipping into Walmart, blending in with last-minute shoppers. At 10:45, we ditched our cart and ducked into the cabinets, hearts pounding as an employee passed by, oblivious. The lights cut off at 11:30. Silence. We actually did it, Jake whispered. Then came the realization, now what? Boredom hit fast. We couldn't just sit there all night. So, like idiots, we decided to explore the restricted areas, the stockroom, the employee-only zones. That's when things got weird. A distant thud. A scraping noise, like something being dragged. You hear that? Jake froze. We brushed it off, probably just the AC. But then, deeper in the stockroom, the noises got louder. A rhythmic creak, 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 like footsteps with a limp. Then Jake vanished. 1 second he was behind me, the next, gone. I called his name, my phone's flashlight shaking in my grip. His voice echoed back, "Dude, over here." But it sounded wrong. Panicked. I found him slumped against a pallet, clutching his stomach. Blood seeped through his fingers. His eyes locked onto something behind me. "Run," he choked out. I turned. A man stood there, grinning. Not a security guard. Not an employee. His clothes were ragged, his left leg dragging as he stepped forward. In his hand, a rusted axe. I hauled Jake up, ignoring his gasp of pain, and booked it toward the exit. The axeman followed, his limp slowing him, but not enough. His laughter echoed off the concrete walls. We barely made it to the first aid aisle when shouts erupted. Flashlights. Cops. The axeman. Gone. Like he'd never been there. Jake survived, barely. The cops never found the guy. No security footage, no evidence. Just our word against the empty dark of that stockroom. Walmart didn't press charges, thank God, but our parents grounded us for life. Worth it? For $100. Not even close. I still can't walk into a Walmart without hearing that creak, creak, creak. I never thought a simple reward for good behavior would turn into a nightmare. My 8-year-old daughter, Lily, had always hated doctor's visits, screaming, kicking, the works. But this time, I promised her a toy if she stayed brave. And to my shock, she did. Not a single tear, even during her shots. So, like any proud mom, I took her straight to the mall to pick out her prize. Lily's eyes lit up the second she saw it, a stuffed pirate bear with a tattered eye patch and a hook for a hand. It was unsettling. The bear's stitched smile looked more like a sneer, and its single visible eye seemed to follow me. "Are you sure, sweetie?" I asked, nudging her toward a cute unicorn instead. What about this one? But Lily was adamant. I want Captain Rusty. The name alone gave me chills. Still, she'd earned it. On the way home, Lily pressed the bear's voice button. A raspy, too deep growl crackled out. A pirate's secrets stay buried. Do you understand? Lily giggled. I forced a laugh, brushing it off as bad voice acting. But then things got weird. A week later, Lily took Captain Rusty to her friend Emma's house. When I picked her up, Emma's mom pulled me aside, pale-faced. Lily, she tried to strangle Emma. My stomach dropped. What? Emma said the bear told her to. Called it, the pirate's game. I apologized profusely, but my mind was racing. Lily had never been violent. Where had she even learned that? At home, Lily clung to Captain Rusty like a lifeline. When I asked about Emma, she glared at me. Captain Rusty says you're not allowed to ask. That night, I caught her whispering to the bear in the dark. I promise I won't tell, she murmured. The next morning, I told Lily the bear needed a timeout. Her reaction was terrifying. She screamed, hurling her cereal bowl against the wall. Give him back. My husband, Mark, pried the bear from her grip and tossed it in our closet. As I shut the door, I swear I heard it hiss. Big mistake. That night, Lily appeared at our bedside, eyes glazed. Captain Rusty's calling me. Mark, a tech engineer, grabbed the bear and tore it open. His face went white. There's a camera in its eye. And a speaker. Someone's been watching her. We called the police, but the signal was untraceable. The toy company never responded. Now, we inspect every toy Lily brings home. Because Captain Rusty didn't just talk. He listened. I was desperate. After months of unemployment and dwindling savings, I was willing to take just about any job. So when my friend mentioned babysitting gigs on Craigslist, I swallowed my hesitation and started scrolling. You'd be surprised how much people pay for last-minute sitters, she'd said. She wasn't wrong. Within hours, I had a response from a woman named Marla, who needed someone to watch her 2 kids, ages 7 and 9, that Saturday night. Easy enough, I thought. I'd babysat my nieces plenty of times. How hard could it be? The address led me to a rundown neighborhood on the outskirts of town. The houses sagged under peeling paint, and the streetlights flickered like they were barely hanging on. When I knocked, no one answered at first. Then, after a long pause, the door creaked open. A man stood there, tall, gaunt, with a wild gray beard and eyes that didn't quite meet mine. Sorry 'bout that, he rasped. Herein ain't what it used to be. The second I stepped inside, my skin prickled. The place was a disaster. Trash piled in corners, dishes crusted with old food, and a smell like mildew and something sour. No toys. No pictures of kids. Nothing. Marla's runnin' late with the boys, the man said, scratching his beard. Make yourself at home. I forced a smile and perched on the edge of a stained couch, my pulse hammering. Minutes dragged by. The man shuffled around, muttering to himself. Then, suddenly, he appeared in the doorway, grinning. Ain't I a fool, he chuckled. The boys are already down in the basement. They use the back entrance. Why don't you go on down? He pointed to a narrow door across the room. Dark. Slightly ajar. Every instinct screamed an "oh." But I nodded, playing along. Sure, I'll check. The second I cracked the door open, the stench hit me, rotting meat and damp earth. The stairs vanished into blackness. No voices. No laughter. Just silence. I turned back, forcing calm into my voice. I don't see them. Maybe they're not here yet. The man's smile didn't reach his eyes. Oh, there. That was it. I bolted for the front door, my fingers fumbling with the lock. Behind me, his voice turned sharp. Hey! Where you goin'? I didn't look back. Tires screeched as I peeled out of the driveway. In the rearview mirror, I saw him stumbling after me, arms waving wildly. I called the police, though part of me wondered if I'd overreacted. Maybe the kids were just shy. Maybe the basement was just messy. But the operator's tone shifted when I described the house. "We'll check it out," she said tightly. I never heard back. A week later, I got hired at a grocery store. Minimum wage, but safe. And I never answered another babysitting ad again. My name is Claire Bennett, and up until 6 months ago, I was just another aspiring crime novelist struggling to get noticed. I'd spent years working as a paralegal while my husband, Daniel, climbed the corporate ladder. When he finally landed his big promotion as CFO, I quit my job to chase my dream, writing gritty psychological thrillers. My first book flopped. Hard. But I refused to give up. I immersed myself in marketing, studying every tip I could find. One piece of advice stuck out: TikTok sells books. So, I set up an account. My first video was awkward, a stiff, scripted introduction filmed in my backyard. It bombed. The second one was raw, just me gushing about my love for murder mysteries. I posted it and went to bed, expecting another handful of pity likes. I woke up to a nightmare. My phone was flooded with notifications. Thousands of views. Hundreds of comments. Is this real? Did anyone else see the body? My stomach dropped. I rewatched the video. There, in the distant background, was Daniel, dragging something heavy from our house toward the shed. Something shaped like a person. I watched, numb, as he grabbed a shovel and disappeared behind the shed. Daniel had already left for work. Hands shaking, I marched to the shed. The shovel was still there, dirt caked on the blade. I dug. And then, a hand. Pale. Lifeless. I uncovered just enough to recognize the face: Richard Voss. Daniel's former boss. The man whose sudden retirement had cleared the way for Daniel's promotion. I sprinted back to the house, dialing 911. Claire. Daniel stood in the doorway, his tie loosened, eyes sharp. "You're home early," I choked out. "Forgot some files." His gaze flicked to my muddy hands. Then my phone. His expression darkened. "You saw the video," he whispered. He lunged. We crashed to the floor, my phone skidding under the couch. His hands locked around my throat. "I did this for us," he snarled. Black spots danced in my vision. Then, nothing. I came to, duct taped to a kitchen chair. Daniel paced, a knife glinting in his grip. "You're going to tell them it was a stunt," he hissed. "For your book." I spat blood. "Or what? You'll kill me too." His smile was inhuman. "I'd hate to. But I will." Then, sirens. The front door exploded inward. Cops swarmed, guns drawn. Daniel screamed, slashing wildly, until a taser dropped him. An officer freed me, nodding to my phone under the couch. Still recording. Still live. Thousands had watched Daniel's confession in real time. Daniel got life without parole. Richard Voss's family got closure. And me? I got a bestseller. Though my next book. Fiction. I've had enough real-life horror to last a lifetime. My name is Sarah Carter, and I've been an elementary school teacher for 8 years. Last year, I made the mistake of accepting a position at Pinecrest Academy, a small charter school run by the Dawson family. From day one, I was the outsider. Principal Dawson hired mostly relatives, and they made sure I knew I didn't belong. But I stayed because the kids needed someone who actually cared about their education. Then came the field trip that changed everything. When Principal Dawson announced a geology excursion to Red Rock Canyon, I was shocked to be put in charge of half the students. Normally, the family teachers got all the special assignments. The trip started normally enough. My group marveled at the ancient petroglyphs while Dawson took her nieces and nephews on a separate trail. But when we regrouped at the buses, 3 of her students came running to me in panic. "Miss Carter. We can't find Principal Dawson," little Tommy gasped, his face flushed from running. That's when I noticed, her entire group was missing. I sent the kids back to the bus and searched for nearly an hour. No sign of Dawson or her students. When I returned to the parking lot, my blood ran cold. The buses were gone. My phone had no service. The desert heat pressed down as realization set in, they'd left me behind on purpose. Just as panic started creeping in, a rusted white van pulled up. The driver, a man with Dawson's same cold blue eyes, offered me a ride. "Hop in, Teach. You look like you could use some help." Everything about him set off alarm bells. The way his fingers tapped the steering wheel. How his gaze kept darting to my backpack. The family resemblance I couldn't ignore. That's when I noticed the Pinecrest Academy sticker on his dashboard. "Actually," I said, edging toward the van's open window, "I think I know your sister." His smile vanished. I acted fast, pepper spray in one hand, my keys wedged between my fingers in the other. When the spray hit his eyes, he howled. I yanked his keys from the ignition. "Start talking," I demanded as he clawed at his face. "Where's Dawson? What was the plan?" Between curses, he spat out the truth. "She wanted you gone. Said you were too nosy about the school funds." The pieces clicked. My recent questions about missing supplies. The suspicious grant money. All leading to this, a staged disappearance in the desert. I left him writhing in the dust, speeding his van toward town. At the police station, I found my students hugging their parents, and Dawson spinning her story to officers. "Such a tragedy," she was saying, dabbing fake tears. "Sarah always was so careless." I kicked open the interrogation room door. "Funny story, Linda," I said, tossing the van keys on the table. "Your brother sends his regards, from the middle of nowhere where I left him." The color drained from her face. Pinecrest Academy closed within weeks. Turns out the Dawsons had been embezzling funds for years. As for me, I'm back in public schools now. The pay might be lower, but at least my coworkers don't try to murder me. Though I do keep pepper spray on my keychain now. Just in case.